And I call the member for Higgins.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Nicotine is a highly addictive substance. In fact, it is a drug, and I've seen the effects of nicotine addiction up close and personal in my medical practice. It results in accelerated atherosclerosis, which pretty much affects every single blood vessel in your body, large or small, or microscopic even. And the effects include stroke, heart attack, and peripheral vascular disease, which in itself leads to serial amputations. It often starts with a small digit, maybe of the toe, and then what happens is usually what we described in the medical profession informally as salami surgery. So the toe would go, then you would end up with a below knee amputation, and so on and so forth, and multiple debridements in between. And the problem with nicotine addiction is that it is a force multiplier, a threat multiplier actually. It, in combination with diabetes, is a very, very potent amplifier of accelerated atherosclerosis and indeed inflammation. And the effects are disastrous. So as a government, we are taking this problem very seriously in an attempt to disrupt tobacco networks, the sale of illicit tobacco, as well as vapes, in order to build upon a proud Labor tradition of reducing smoking rates in this country. We know that tobacco is the leading cause of preventable disease burden in Australia, accounting for 8.6% of the total burden of disease. That was back in 2018. And the number of daily smokers aged 14 years and above in 2019 were 12% in men and nearly 10% in women. But there are some bright spots. There has been a decline in active smokers over 20 or so years. And we also know that there's been an increase in the proportion of adults who never take up smoking. In 1991, that number was 49%. In 2019, that number is now 63%. And these data come from the AIHW. 82% of secondary school students have never tried smoking. That was in 2017 compared to 77% in 2011. But we have to remain vigilant. Why? Because we've seen the scourge and ingress of vapes into a much younger generation, children. These things are disguised as anything but cigarettes. They look like batteries, like highlighter pens. They have enticing colours and even more enticing names, and obviously a range of flavours. And the Albanese government is intent on banning these items because they are ever prevalent and they are popping up like weeds. We do know that almost 2 in 5 current smokers aged 14 or over in 2019 have used e-cigarettes. And these were originally sold as being a means to cease smoking, to break the habit. But in fact, what has happened is that these have become gateway drugs, leading to greater levels of nicotine addiction in people later in life. With respect to the illicit trade of tobacco, this is a significant problem, and it is underpinned by sophisticated criminal syndicates. Organised crime networks are increasingly resorting to acts of violence, including arson, threats and assault. Why? Because the amount of money involved in this trade is huge. Border Force last year made over 120,000 detections of illicit tobacco, seizing over 1.8 billion cigarettes and over 867 tonnes of loose-leaf tobacco. And this tobacco is grown in regional areas, often in communities that know it is happening, and it takes a great deal of collaboration and intelligence, both on the ground and interstate collaboration and indeed Commonwealth collaboration, to disrupt these networks. For example, between April and May of this year, the task force looking into this, in combination with the ATO and New South Wales Police, raided 3 illegal tobacco plantations across New South Wales. And this activity resulted in the seizure of more than 264 tonnes of illicit tobacco. Similarly, in August of this year, there was another sophisticated operation to disrupt a group in southeast Queensland as well as northern New South Wales, involving the AFP, New South Wales Police and Queensland Health, as well as the TGA. So in order for this sort of work to continue, we have to maintain good relationships with our state counterparts and ensure we get multi-jurisdictional collaboration.